back, everybody. This is Canadian Yorker here with another Town Talk. Um, so we are here today, and I wanted to give you guys an update in regards to the Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fight. And it's been about a month since, 2 months actually, since I last covered the Mike Tyson, the Jake Paul fight upcoming. So it is now October. Today is October 31st. It's Halloween. Uh, and so today is October 31st, and it is Halloween, and we are about 13 days away um, from Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. That's going to be broadcasted on Netflix. I apologize for this short span of time and space. So 13 days away from it, and I want to give you guys some updates regarding Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. So there's a lot that has happened in the past couple of months, or past month and a little under 2 months. And here's what it's going to be giving you guys a update about this update right now about what's going on, and then I'm going to do a second video covering the rest of what has happened in the past month with Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. So in my last video, I covered Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fight was building up, and there was a lot going on. So now there's some more information that has come out, and so I believe Jake Paul is not focusing solely on this Mike Tyson fight. He's not training. Maybe he is training, but he's putting he's putting some of his eggs in many baskets. He's not keeping all of his eggs in one basket, because after his fight with Mike Tyson, what's he gonna do? Well, he's definitely looking for newer opponents to fight. And one of those new opponents that he's looking to fight is none other than Alex Pereira, the UFC lightweight champion. I believe he is. You might correct me if I'm wrong. So there's an article here from SMMAmania.com, written on September 7th, 2024. So Jake Paul actually is interested in fighting Alex Pereira. However, Francis Ngannou, who is I think he is now back in the UFC, and went into boxing. Now he's back in the UFC. He was also the heavyweight champion of UFC. He has warned Jake Paul to avoid fighting Alex Pereira, and for good reason. Because according to the article, Jake Paul is definitely calling out Alex Pereira now to fight him that will be his next opponent after Mike Tyson. But the article is saying that Alex Pereira is someone that Jake Paul should probably avoid. I'm sorry. Yeah. So it says here, after pummeling Mike Perry back in July, the problem child tried to strike back at naysayers who accurately accused him of fighting smaller men all the time. In response, he called out Alex Pereira, the two-division UFC champion, who is currently running roughshod over the light heavyweight ranks. The Powhatan is not only a credentialed knockout artist, but he's also one of the rare athletes that seems impossibly big, no matter his weight class. Unlike other past Paul opponents, Pereira is still in his prime as well. There's a reason why he's a title threat in 3 divisions. Obviously, UFC isn't likely to let their active champion wander into the boxing ring against Jake Paul, particularly since Paul and UFC owner Dana White do not get along very well. At the same time, on a recent episode of BS with Jake Paul podcast, former UFC heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou strongly advised Paul against seeking the matchup further. The Predator was very complimentary towards Pereira and told Paul to his face that the fight wouldn't end well for him. Quote, Francis Ngannou says, "He's a tough dude. He has some tough hands," Francis said of Pereira. I think you're going to get some tough nights. I mean, he is a big-sized guy. The guy is big, solid, and he's mean. He walks straight to you like, I'm going to eat this guy. Before Paul can try to line up a showdown versus Pereira, he has to get through boxing legend Mike Tyson on November 15th from AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. A high-profile bout that's set to air live and free on Netflix. Many are concerned about the health and safety of the 58-year-old former champion who suffered a medical emergency back in May, but Francis Ngannou isn't worried. On the same podcast, Ngannou predicted that Tyson is knocking out Paul. As for the Predator, he's crossing back into the cage after two losses to elite boxers in the ring. He scheduled Renan Ferreira on October 19th in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, in what will be his professional Fighters League debut. So that's it for the honor. This article written on September 7th. There's another article talking about Jake Paul's team actually responded to a boxing promoter named Eddie Hearn, who has labeled Mike Tyson and Jake Paul's fight a quote-unquote freak show. And this article was written September 8th, 2024, written on the USSun.com, and I'll be posting the article in the links below. Continuing, Jake Paul's team have hit back at Eddie Hearn, boxing promoter, following criticism of the Mike Tyson fight. YouTuber turned boxer Paul faces heavyweight great Tyson on November 15th in a clash that has attracted controversy over the massive age gap. And boxing promoter Eddie Hearn has been very vocal about it. But Paul's business partner and co-founder of Most Valuable Promotions, Nikisa Badarian, was quick to fire back at Hearn. Badarian said, quote, "Keep getting these articles about Eddie Hearn taking shots at Paul versus Tyson." How she continues. And if you're involved, you have no empathy for the sport. How he'd never be involved in a million years. Eddie, you're involved, man. Involved in a big way. Continuing, Vidal says, Katie Taylor, your most celebrated fighter, is the main co-event, and it's her biggest payday, as you know. It's funny, continuing, I remember when Francis Ngannou was fighting Tyson Fury, you were out there saying, this is a circus, this is a clown show, this shouldn't be happening. Continuing, Bidan says, but as soon as the opportunity came for you to be involved with Anthony Joshua versus Francis Ngannou, you were running so fast to sign that contract and make a talk about, oh, this is a great fight, oh, it's such a big deal. And Eddie Hearn responded online saying, in response, quote, there's a bit of a big difference. Francis was an active UFC fighter who basically beat Tyson Fury. And continuing, Hearn said that win gave him all the credibility he needed. Mike is in his 50s and 20 years younger than he was. A shot as a fighter. Paul is 10-0, 10-1 with only a 2013 points defeat to Tyson Fury's brother Tommy, 25, blemishing his record. Mike Tyson retired in 2005 off the back of two dismal defeats and years of trouble outside the ring. But by 2020, he was reformed and returned for an exhibition bout with Roy Jones Jr., which was nothing more than a glorified sparring session. That will not be the case, so we're told, this time around as he prepares to fight Paul in a professionally sanctioned bout. Both will be subject to drug testing, while Tyson must take additional brain and heart exams due to his age. The outrage was sparked when Tyson was forced to pull out of the initial July 20 date amid an also flare-up in his stomach. But organizers, including streaming platform Netflix, were quick to reschedule the bout. Hearn has been critical, telling Sunsport, I don't think there's one boxing person that really wants this fight to happen. I understand that this freak show may well do good numbers, but I think if you genuinely care about the sport and the history of the sport, and particularly the legacy of one of the greatest fighters of all time, it's not something you'd even consider. And continuing, But I understand their statement, their strategy, and the business. If it does numbers, they don't really care how it looks in terms of the empathy of it. I don't think it's ever something you'd see a real boxing person get involved with. So there we have what Eddie Hearn has said in regards to many people actually think the same way of this fight, that this is um, something that they don't want to pay attention to and are interested into, especially if they are big boxing fans. They don't really have a lot of interest in this. Continuing though,